Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Crime Family. I am your co-host, Lisa, and I am here with my sister, Katie, and my brother, AJ, my two other co-hosts. And today we have a very mysterious case. Again, it's one that we're not sure a crime was even committed, which I think has been a theme for some of my most of my cases that I've done this season. But anyway, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it. The disappearance of Lars Mittank. It's kind of new for me too. It's in the past couple of years. And it's another one that is one that I go back to often to see if there's any updates. It's one of those ones that keep me up kind of at night, with all the possibilities. So without further ado, I'll get into it. So Lars Mittank was considered one of the most famous missing persons on YouTube, and he's also dubbed the world's most famous missing tourist. So he was born in Berlin in 1986, and Lars was known to be extremely close to his mother, Sandra. So in June of 2014, at the age of 28, he travels outside Germany for the first time, joining a group of high school friends on vacation to Varna, Bulgaria. They stay at the Golden Sands Resort, a popular party destination along Bulgaria's Black Sea coast. So this is the first time he's leaving Germany, and he's going with a bunch of his high school friends. And according to one of his friends who spoke publicly about this in 2016, the trip began normally. The group spent their days relaxing on the beach, swimming, playing football, and going out at night. And they all say Lars appeared calm, happy, and in good spirits. There was nothing overtly wrong, only subtle details, like they noticed he was eating less than usual, but that didn't raise any concern at the time. It was just something that they look back on now, and it's like, yeah, that was a little weird when I think about it. Like, he was barely eating. So everything was going good the first week or two of vacation, but everything changes on the night of July 6th, 2014. So that evening, Lars became involved in a confrontation with another group of tourists. So Lars is a huge football fan. So this started as like a football related banter argument. Like him and the other tourists were supporting two different teams. So they got into like friendly competition banter that escalated into actual physical confrontation. So accounts differ on the specifics, but everyone agrees on one point that there was a fight occur. A fight did occur. So later that night, after Lars becomes separated from his friends near McDonald's, he was attacked. So his friends weren't here for this. They all get separated. So it's just Lars and this group that he says attacks him. So the account of the attack is like third party accounts, because no one was there for it, and people who were there for it never talked. Like, Lars was never found. So the accounts are really first person accounts. So it's kind of just details kind of differ, but it says Lars later told his friends that the men who beat him up were hired by rival football fans. And Lars himself, so like the supporters of the Bayern Munich, it doesn't really matter the football teams, I guess, but he said like the rival football fans, they hired this group to beat him up. His friends did not witness the attack as they had already returned to the hotel, but when Lars reappeared the following morning, he was visibly injured. So he claims he had punched in the face, he injured his jaw, and then ruptured his eardrum. So he gets separated from his friends, gets into this fight by McDonald's, gets jumped and all this, and then he shows up the next morning to the hotel to his friends, and his face is all messed up. So Lars goes to seek medical attention for this, and a doctor prescribes him the antibiotics cefprozil and advises him he cannot fly back. They're scheduled to fly back the next day, and the doctor says he's not advised not to fly due to the risk that air pressure could worsen his ear injury. This advice led to a crucial decision, one that may have altered the entire course of the case. So Lars' friends, they offer to stay behind with him instead of flying out that day, like they're all planning to. But Lars refuses their help and says, "No, I'll be fine. I'm going to fly out in a day or two when I get the okay to fly." So he insists that his friends return home to Germany as planned, assuring them he would be fine, and he'll book another flight once he's cleared to fly. So on July 7th, 2014, the day that they all scheduled to leave Bulgaria, his friends leave. And that same day, Lars checks out of the resort hotel and into the airport hotel. So he's all by himself. His friends leave, he's by himself, and that night, that's when his behavior changes dramatically. So Lars calls his mother in Germany that night, and he sounds panicked. He tells her that people are trying to rob him or kill him, and begs her to cancel his credit cards. Just out of nowhere, he calls. And Sandra later, his mom Sandra later says he was breathing so heavily that she could hear his heart pounding through the phone. So there is security footage from the hotel that would later show Lars. He's pacing the hallways, he's peering out windows, he's hiding inside elevators as if he's trying to avoid being seen, but no one ever appears to be following him, ever. So then around 1 a.m. on July 8th, Lars leaves the hotel for roughly an hour before returning. Where he went and what he did during that hour remains unknown. So he leaves the hotel at 1 a.m., comes back an hour later. Later, he calls his mother again, saying the people that are threatening him are getting closer. And then at one point, he texts her asking what Stepafol 500 was, suggesting sudden distrust of the medication he was prescribed. He thinks someone had poisoned it. So all of a sudden, the night his friends leave, something shifts in him. So despite his fear, Lars decides he needs to leave Bulgaria immediately. Later that morning, he texts his mother to say he's arrived at the airport. So his mother books him a plane ticket back to Germany. And as a backup, she also purchases him a bus ticket in case he's unable to fly. So airport surveillance shows Lars arriving at Varna Airport. He's wearing a yellow shirt, jean shorts, and carrying a suitcase. So he meets with the airport physician, Dr. Kostov, who later states that Lars appeared nervous and erratic, but he was medically cleared to fly. So he can fly now. It's been a few days. So he gets the okay, and then the doctor says something strange happens. According to Dr. Kostov, like a construction worker enters the office because they're doing maintenance, and upon seeing this construction worker, Lars suddenly panics and he begins shouting, "I don't want to die here. I have to get out of here." So he bolts from the office, abandoning his luggage, his phone, and his passport. Lars' final moments are captured on airport surveillance footage. And then we can watch it, but he's seen sprinting out of the terminal, and at one point he loses his shoes. He runs towards a fence, he climbs over it, and disappears into a large field of scrubland bordering the airport. So if you guys want to watch it, you actually see him running out of the airport. And this is what makes the case so eerie to me. So there he is, right there. He goes to the airport doctor, and then that's him in the yellow, just so you know. And that's him running out of the doctors after he sees that construction worker. I'm just finding. He's going. People see him climbing over the fence and into that big field, and he's never seen again. Isn't that creepy?
It's so weird that there's, like, no footage of him after that. Like,
I
what he
know.
just, like, disappeared in that field.
Yeah, so, like, apparently some people say that it's a 6-foot fence, and he climbed it. We don't see it on the camera, but someone says at some point they see him, he's running, and all of a sudden they look again, he has no shoes on, so he discarded his shoes in the run somewhere. And he goes into that field, and that he is never seen again. So,
And do we know what was in that field? Just an empty field?
yeah, they said, like, brush, like, they call it scrubland.
How,
Yeah.
big is it? Is it, like, a vast desert after that field? Or, like, is it just, like, a little field, but there's, like, streets all around it? Or, like, what is there?
From what the way to describe it, it's just a field, like marshland or something. Like, yeah. So he didn't have his luggage, his phone, his passport. Some people say he didn't even have his shoes by the time he got to the fence. So that's like the last sighting of him. So the case immediately drew attention because so much of it was recorded on camera. So they, watching a man flee an airport barefoot, panicked and alone, only to vanish without a trace. I mean, obviously this case people latched onto it right away. So the original YouTube video showing Lars running into the field amassed over 16 million views quickly before it was deleted. So that's not the original, but of course nothing has ever gone from the internet. So there's lots of videos of it, but the original has been deleted. So despite numerous searches,
why was it deleted?
I don't know.
That's
It just
weird.
said it was taken down. But despite numerous searches of the surrounding fields and wooded areas and nearby coastline, authorities found nothing. They have no clothing, no body, no evidence that Lars ever left the area. There's no footage of him re-entering the airport or appearing anywhere else. I know it's like so quick, but that's kind of just like the whole crux of the case. Over the years, there were lots of alleged sightings that have surfaced worldwide. So in 2016, police investigated a disoriented man found in Porto Velho, Brazil. Believed he might be Lars. So that's the picture of that guy I sent you. Which it looks like him it could be him with the beard. So in 2016, they find this man stumbling along a highway, disheveled. He's dirty. So the public gets a wind of this picture, and they think it could be Lars, which I think it kind of could look like him, and a little bit maybe.
Like
They,
DNA?
no, so maybe they do. It just all it says is the man was later identified as someone else entirely. He was actually a Canadian man from Toronto named Anton Phillip who had gone missing years earlier.
Oh,
So
weird.
yeah, so they find one guy that went missing years ago, and he was missing 5 years, feared dead. He's now back home after being discovered wandering on a highway in Brazil. He was last seen in Scarborough, Ontario, in 2012, and then he ends up in Brazil. Went back to Toronto, and he was reunited with his brother Stefan after being released from the hospital in the northern Brazilian city. His brother told CBC Toronto he believes his brother, who had lived in Toronto, Montreal, and British Columbia before disappearing, had mental health problems when he went missing. He believes Anton, whom he describes as an anti-poverty activist, got to Brazil at least part of the way by walking, sometimes with no shoes, as well as hitchhiking and hiding in the back of transport trucks. And the family had no idea where Anton was until late December, when they were notified that he'd been picked up by the Brazilian state police, who had thought this guy was Lars.
How do you get over the border? I don't get like I don't understand how if someone goes missing and if people look into it, like you can track someone's passport where they
Yeah,
go.
it said he was found with no ID. Yeah, and it said he was found no ID and passport. And they said thanks to the Brazilian Canadian police officer, Hale was able to return to his family. When he was picked up by the highway police in November, he carried no ID. The police officer who found him, who has lived in Canada on and off and has a Canadian citizenship and spoke English, began asking him all these questions. Like, it was very obvious that Anton wasn't from there. He was obviously a foreigner. Like, he stood out. Like, so they took him to the hospital, and when they spoke to him, he didn't seem entirely reliable about it. They didn't think he was telling the truth about his story. And after a few details, he did finally admit that he was from Canada. They picked him up with the police, and he was placed in a hospital. And shortly after they picked him up from the hospital, he ran away again and was headed into a jungle area in the northern Brazilian state of Amazonas, prompting a new round of worry for the police. And then they found him again, and his health was deteriorating, and now he's doing really well. And anyway, it's just crazy. Like, he was gone for 5 years. He spent 5 years off the grid, and he just happened to get found because they thought it was another missing person. So that was one sighting that but that's kind of could look like him a little bit. I think I can see kind of if you see what if you see the missing poster, you can see what he looks like, and then him with that scruffy beard. I kind of looks like him, I think. So that was one sighting, and then another claim came from a German truck driver who said he picked up a hitchhiker resembling Lars, but police were unable to locate the individual. And then his mother hired a private investigator, Andreas Gutig, but no, she never was able to find any answers. She came back with nothing pretty much. So Sandra, which is Lars's mother, she remains convinced that her son was not in the right state of mind when he disappeared. But he had no history of mental illness, no criminal record, and there's no indication that he planned to disappear. I mean, there was no signs that he ever had he was ever paranoid before, or anything like that. So some theorize that Lars ran away to start a new life. Others believe he was genuinely being pursued. Like, when he called, say, people after him. Some people believe that there actually was people after him. There's also a lot of speculation that the antibiotics Cefprozil may have contributed to a psychotic episode. So evidence for this is inconclusive, because they say the medication can cause rare neurological psychiatric side effects, but it's unclear whether Lars took it consistently or long enough for that explanation to fully account for his behavior. And there was one article where the doctor said he prescribed it to Lars, but Lars ended up never even taking the medication. So he thought he thought it was getting poisoned. He was being poisoned.
Mm.
So
Well, and the fact that, like, what you said it was he asked his mother
yeah, what
about
is
that
this?
medication and, like, what is it? But also he thought he was being poisoned, like, that kinda sounds like a
Yeah,
like, in his head kind of situation.
yeah, yeah. So some people think he actually ran away to start a new life with no shoes and no wallet or anything. Start a new life with all nothing, pretty much, no money or anything. And then
But if
at
you
this,
were
yeah. So
planning to do that, why do it in such a dramatic fashion? Like running out of the airport, it's up
Yeah,
the fence. Like, why not
causing
just
a
like leave
scene.
casually? Yeah.
Yeah, like, making people think what's going on there. Like, you think if you wanna blend in, just, like, do it quietly. It's kinda weird.
Yeah. Hmm.
That's what the thing, like, what makes this case especially haunting is not just that Lars disappeared, but where he disappeared from. Like, airports are controlled, secure environments. If Lars wanted to vanish, this was like an odd way to do it. He left behind his phone, his money, his identification. He ran barefoot into like unfamiliar terrain with no clear plan, no supplies, no means of contacting anyone. They say that Lars was very good. He was good at hunting, fishing. He was an outdoors man. So they said he could maybe survive the elements for a bit and set up camp somewhere. And that despite extensive investigations by both Bulgarian and German authorities, his trail ends at the edge of that field. Like we see him run out of frame, and that's where it ends. They don't have any sign of him after. Like that's where the trail ends. It's just crazy. You see him on video, like literally last sighting of him.
It's weird. But you said there was coastline there. So there's like a body of water there. I mean, did they
I don't know
check
if it's
that
like
thoroughly?
they said they check yeah, they checked that whole scrubland, they call it, the woods around and stuff. Think it was a lot of the people in the camp that it was the medication. He had, like, a bad reaction to the medication. But the doctor says, like, quote, he even quote, like, he didn't even quote, "He didn't take those antibiotics. He didn't even fill out his prescription," end quote. And then the doctor also goes on to say, like, his behavior couldn't have been a result of that. And he said, I can't think of a single reason why he left my office in such a panic. I'm still confused about it." Like, he just like, he's a construction worker walked in and he looked at him and like, "I don't wanna die here," and then ran away. So it's just so odd. The
Does he
doctor
have a
saying,
history of like drugs? Like he could have been on other kind of drugs.
yeah, his
Does friends
friends
ever say that he like experimented with drugs at all ever?
yeah, there was nothing, and he was drinking, heavily, but there was nothing. No mention of drug use, no mention of like shady going ons. Like they were just literally hanging out at the beach, the pool, drinking and going out to dinner at night, and there was no shady characters they met up with. Like, then they got into the fight with the football fans. That was the only thing. Out of McDonald's. But the people think maybe he had a head injury.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That he got beat
Yeah,
up or something. But like,
but
I mean, he's like thought that the football fans hired people to come after him. It's like, why are you so? Why would football fans be just like so adamant to like do that to somebody else? Like it's just a football team. Like chill.
a lot of people think it was a head injury, like a concussion, but the doctor says, like, however, like odd behavior isn't usually this extreme a few days after a head injury. It usually takes years, or if it happens after multiple. Oh, it happened that quickly if you had multiple hits to the head over time. Like he doesn't think he got hit in the head, and then the next night he's acting like that. The doc's like that doesn't really. vi- That's I don't think that's very uncommon. More than a decade later, Lars is still missing. His mother searches all the time. Still, she contacts hospitals, psychiatric facilities, shelters, and she has a very heavy online presence dedicated to finding him. And whatever happened to him, it happened fast and in plain sight. Like he just see him on camera running into that field. So that's really it's the case, really short and sweet. But
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say, to me, it's almost like there's 2 questions in this case. One is, like, what is happening with him? But to
yeah,
me, I'm not even more concerned about that because, like, to me, it seems pretty clear it's, like, a mental health crisis of some sort. Like, he's having some sort of, like, d he's thinking people are after him, like, paranoid and all that stuff. To me, the question is, like, how do you just disappear, off the face of the earth, uh, after that field with no trace? Because even if there was no one after him and there's no foul play, but it's like, you would still find his body somewhere. Like, I guess I'm thinking if he, like, died somewhere, you'd find his body, but it makes me think he didn't die. Like, he did get away, he ran away, and now he's just living somewhere, and no one knows where. I don't know. Very weird.
And, like, people always think, like, that decision for his friends to leave, his friends got a lot of flack for leaving him, and then but they said, "No, we asked him, like, we were going to stay," and he with him, and he just said, "No, I'm okay, okay." He, like, forced us to just convinced us he was okay to go home, but I wonder if he had left, would he have, like, the paranoia and I don't know, it's like, was it because he was alone or something and he got scared? I don't know, it's like, people think because, like, his friends leaving him alone was a big changed the case completely. Um,
Well, yeah, I
I
mean,
don't
I think
know.
if his friends hadn't have left and had been there, then for sure the case he wouldn't have gone missing. They would have known where he
It's just
is.
crazy that he would as soon as his friends leave, that's when he starts having, like they said that everything was normal, although they did say he wasn't eating as much as he normally did, but they didn't know maybe that's just 'cause it was just different kinds of food or, like, he just wasn't I don't know,
It just
but
seems like a bunch of different things happen at the same time to make it look weird, right? Like his friends left him. He got in this fight. He thinks people are after him. He's maybe on this medication, maybe not, and then he just like freaks out and runs away. Like
yeah.
just one of those things what happened. It's weird that all those things are happening at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, and so it's like it wasn't and from what I can see, it's not like he ran into, like it wasn't woods, it was a field, like, it's not like he was hidden by woods, and then it's like, where did he go after like, what happened to him? Like, where did he go? It's just like in that video of him running, it's just so it's just creepy to me. He walks in with all his luggage, and he's totally fine, and then you see him not that long later running out of the doctor's office. Like, it's just crazy. Like, where did he go? Was he still alive? Like, is he living under he has no memory of who he used to be, you know? So many sightings that they thought it was him, but the police were never able to verify that it was. So, it's just
I find if he was like doesn't know who he was and like can't remember his past, I feel like I don't just to me, I feel like he wouldn't be traveling around. You know what I mean? I feel like he'd be like stuck kind of like in this mental health crisis as like a homeless person in where he was left kind of thing. Because if he had the wherewithal to be able to travel and get places, you'd think he'd have the wherewithal to like question who he is and
yeah,
like
yeah,
reach
yeah,
Yeah.
out kind of thing.
Yeah,
yeah.
part of me thinks he, like, never left the area that he was from, like, he just ended
Hmm.
up on the
So
streets and, like
it's like, so people are like, was a crime committed? Did he meet somebody that something did him harm right after he left, or he died from the elements or something? Um, they say that he would be able to survive out in the wilderness for a bit because he hunted and he fished, and he
but
would
if
be
he
able to
was in his
scout.
if he was in his right state of mind, he would, but if he's in a
Yeah,
like, he wouldn't be able
yeah,
to even do that if he's, like, in the middle of some breakdown or crisis or something.
Well, honestly, like 2 things could have happened at the same time. Like, he could have had this, like, crazy mental health crisis and then ran away, and then also somebody murdered him, right? Like, it's like he didn't just die in the elements, but, like, somebody could have done something to him as well while he's in this state.
and it's just weird that he like ran out the back way to like I don't know. He ran like he had to jump over a big fence, and he didn't
Yeah, why
run.
not just, like, run through the front doors and, like, run away
Yeah,
down the street,
yeah,
like
like
a
yeah.
normal
He
route? Yeah.
he headed towards the back of the airport where there's, like, a big fence and obviously, like, it
Mhm.
wasn't where people are supposed to be. Yeah, it's just odd. When I first saw that video, because I had never heard of this case until I s I saw it online, and that video was just so weird to me. It's like, what happened to him? Like, I just one of those cases that I definitely spent hours, like, reading on Reddit and all that, like, what do they think happened? And I wanna know if I'll ever find out. There's been no
It's weird.
they never found anything from him. They lose
So
his
he probably, like so I'm guessing he probably did run like, he ran away and found like, just ended up somewhere, like, on the streets and is maybe still living there, but like you said, Katie, maybe could have been met with foul play, like, later, completely unrelated, like, just was on the streets and something
Mhm.
happened,
Yep.
like or
yeah,
he could still be alive, just
and
maybe
people
Doesn't know
homeless
who
think
he is kinda
and if he's
thing.
not getting, like,
yeah,
treatment or anything, right? Like, he's
Mhm.
in having a crisis, it's only gonna get worse if you're not
yeah,
getting it
yeah.
treated, right?
I feel like, though, it's he's one of the biggest missing person mysteries over there. I feel like if homeless guy was having a mental health crisis and he went, like, cops were called, or something. They would know about I feel like they would know the cops would know that this guy's missing, and
They may not
there's
though.
someone
They don't know
there's
every
someone
person who's missing.
I guess, but yeah, maybe not, but
That's
Like
the
in the
thing,
whole
like, when
country, like it
those
could be
people that
different cops.
yeah. But I mean, and, like, when you think about it, all those people that are, like, affected by drugs and homelessness and, like, they overdose and go to the hospital, like, does the hospital ID all of those people every time they come in, or do they treat them and then they're back out? Like, I don't think they know exactly who these people are
Yeah, and
every
if they don't
time,
have ID on
unless they're
them,
people that come in all the time. Yeah, they don't have ID on them, they don't have, like, a history, they don't have, like, a health card.
mhm,
I'm
and
They
if he
just
treat them
thinking,
forgot
and
who
then
like
he
they
was,
leave.
like he doesn't even know his name.
I'm just thinking, like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking he never left that little resort place he was at, like, that little town he was in, so I feel like people in that the authorities in that little vacation place he was in would know he was missing,
Yeah, yeah.
and they run into him on the street, or he was having a psychotic break, and he was like, the cops got called, like, I don't know what he was, and then I feel like someone would know it. Maybe that's Lars. I don't know, in the small town. I don't know, but it's just I just wonder. And he ran away with nothing. Like he didn't even like he. Some people like some people believe that someone really was after him. Um, and so, but like the fact he ran away without anything, left his luggage and everything, and just he must have been like into his mind must have been very terrified. Like he was terrified. And he thought it was for real. Like he ran out with nothing. I don't think he was starting a new life, but anyway, I mean, like I
Yeah,
said,
that's
we
like
Yeah.
don't even know.
when people start a new life, they, like, leave their wallet behind. It's like, you still need money in a new life, right?
Yeah,
Like, at
yeah,
least, like, take all your money out of your bank account and have cash to start a new life. Like,
yeah,
that's the weird thing.
yeah, yeah. So,
I
um,
think he maybe was probably like s- ha- on had a like mental health breakdown, like and had been like getting significantly worse. Maybe he wasn't eating as much because that was part of it, and then like he just
yeah,
after that encounter with like the football fan or the soccer football with the football fans,
yeah.
like maybe he just like that escalated his paranoia, and then he thought everyone was out to get him, and then just panicked. I
Yeah,
think,
or he got a head injury from that. Like, if they did do something and then, like,
Yeah,
that didn't help the situation at all, right? It just made it worse, and, like,
yeah.
things spiraled from there.
but didn't you say, Lisa, that like they said you if you got a head injury, but like it wouldn't show up that quickly. It was only like the next day or two. Like it would
Yeah, but if he was
get
starting to
worse over
kinda
time.
spiral, like, he had problems and then, like, he got this head injury, which, like, just, like, compounded the issue. It wasn't, like, the head injury on its own.
And they only like the doctors said that when he went to the hospital, they just said ruptured eardrum, a fractured jaw. They didn't say like he had like a huge head injury. It's just like I don't know. It's and they said if he had a concussion or whatever, yeah, he wouldn't have acted like that right away. They said, but yeah, if
But if there was
he
something
was
going on before that, right? Some, like,
yeah, yeah,
underlying
yeah,
thing, and then
and
that
it's
didn't help.
crazy. Like his friends say, like his behavior was nothing was different with his behavior. He was like as happy as could be, relaxed, and nothing different than how he used to be. And it's it's like, and they didn't even know didn't start acting different until he was alone. Like that's as soon as he checked into that airport hotel and his friends left. That's when he calls his mom and says, "Someone's after me. Like I need you to cancel my credit cards." It's just weird that as soon as his friends leave and he's by himself, maybe, he's just maybe he freaked himself out. He's in this foreign country by himself, maybe, and he just got attacked by this group. Maybe he's convinced himself that they're gonna finish the job or something. I don't know. It's just weird. It's odd. I just no history of mental illness in him and his any of his family. Nothing. No shady goings on ever. And all of a sudden, it's just like within a few hours, his whole psyche changes.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say because like people we had no history, but he could have just but this was the start of it. This was the
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
history. But yeah, it's just
yeah.
crazy that
How
it
old
took
was he again,
just
did you say?
28?
Mhm, yeah.
well, I was gonna say, well, because I looked at the poster you sent and it says 34.
Yeah, I saw that. I realized that too after when I was reading it, but he's 28. Like that's maybe like when the poster was made, he would be 34.
Yeah, maybe that's, like, years later, yeah.
Oh, but he
Yeah,
was
like he
28 when he went missing. Because I was like,
yeah.
that's when like schizophrenia and stuff starts
Yeah, I
to
was gonna
That's
show
say,
up,
like, your
right?
and
20s,
yeah,
yeah.
28, like late 20s for male usually, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was gonna say like that's what I looked. I went in to look at Atlas,
Yeah,
but then I was like, oh, he's a little bit older than that. But if he was when he went missing, he was 28.
yeah. Weird though. It's just like
Yeah, it's weird.
as soon as his friends leave him, the timing is what gets me. Like he starts at it's just convenient. Like he's just as soon as he's by himself, like 'cause that's the first
Yeah,
time
but
anyone. He didn't tell his
yeah.
friends the next day. They're after me. After me. It was only after like he was alone. His friends had no idea he was thinking someone was after him. Like what changed? Like the new
Maybe he
airport,
took drugs.
the airport hotel was sketchy. Like because he goes away for that 1 hour. He leaves the airport at 1 a.m. He leaves the hotel at 1 a.m. Comes back at 2, and no one knows what he did in that hour.
I mean, it
And
could
then
have been drugs. But also, just because you do
maybe,
that, like, why do you disappear in a field? Like, having
yeah,
schizophrenia doesn't make you disappear. Like,
yeah.
it's just weird. Yeah.
And, like, he was so ready to like, he got the okay to go home, he's excited to go home, so gets there, and he gets to the airport, and all of a sudden, something about like, he see the a construction worker walks in, he looks at him, and it's like, "I'm gonna die." It's
Well,
just
yeah,
weird.
and that's another weird thing is, like, you'd think the doctor would notice something weird when he was in there, like, if he,
Mm.
like, would recognize
He
the signs of, like, a psychotic
Yeah.
break, but he didn't, right? He
He
didn't
just
say
said
anything like that.
he seemed nervous. He did say he
Mhm.
seemed a little erratic.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but the doctor said nothing that made me think anything medically seriously was going on. He just seemed stressed or
Mhm.
but he was got the okay to fly. His eardrum injury was like got and so I mean the doctor didn't think to keep him. I don't know. It's weird. Like he didn't. I don't know.
But I was thinking, like, maybe it wouldn't be that hard to, like, he ran away and he just like blended, like, got a ride somewhere else and like blends in with, shady people or like, you know, and then just like ends up on drugs or like he's in this crisis and it just gets worse and worse. And then I feel like it would be relatively easy to like just kind of get
Yeah,
lost
That's
and
what I mean, yeah, if he was just one of those
yeah,
people on the street that everybody ignores when they see them, right? Like,
yeah, and that's what I mean. Like a lot of people, a lot of most people that I've read it from what I read, they don't think a crime was committed. They think he's they don't think someone was
yeah.
out. But
And I always think
it's just,
like what Katie was saying was like, because I always think on one hand, I'm like, how would nobody recognize, if there's a missing person and you
yeah,
pass him if he's homeless on the street? But like, first of all, a lot of people wouldn't even be aware of the case, probably at all. Wouldn't even know to be looking. And second, like Katie said, the sad thing is people just walk by. Someone's homeless on the street. Like you just walk by, you don't even look at them. But if you actually spend time, looked at them, talked to them, maybe you would realize, oh, this is this person. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
yeah, I feel
yeah,
like both things have to be true. You have to know that this person, have to know about the case, and then also you have to spend enough time with them to put the pieces together that that's who
yeah,
this person
and,
is.
yeah,
like, be paying attention to those
Yeah,
people, like, yeah, like, actually looking
yeah,
yeah,
at them closely. Like, people just, like, don't even wanna look at it, and they just, like, walk by as
yeah,
fast as they can, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's sad. So there's probably people who would have been able to know it was him, but they don't even look.
yeah.
So
So yeah,
it's
maybe
sad.
that he went like 1 hour that the hour that he disappeared, he scored some drugs and then he was on a horrible trip or something. I don't know. The paranoia makes me seem like
But then he would come out of
uh,
it eventually, though.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like he can come out of it when he's like in the middle of a field, probably with no shoes on. And then I
Well, I
don't
think he
know.
probably got past the field. Like I think he
Yeah. It's
because
just
I was
like
thinking, like, if he never left the field or he died somewhere in the elements, like, they did a search all around the field, they didn't find him.
yeah.
So
They
that
didn't
would
find
be the end
anything
of that.
any forest or any of in the coastline, any of the
Yeah.
woods surrounding. There's nothing. Not even
S
like so they even say the trace of him. They had dogs and stuff. It's like the edge of that field is that's the last of him
yeah, so
apparently.
obviously he got past that and went on beyond that.
Yeah.
Like, either someone
Yeah.
picked him up or he just I don't know.
It's just it's but we'll never we don't I hope will we ever know? I don't know. One day maybe that story will just like when that Canadian guy was found, maybe Lars will be found because he got mistaken for someone else, Like maybe like who knows? Um but there's a Facebook page, has like 55,000 followers called Find Lars Mittank that his mom updates daily. And she still to this day she still calls all the hospitals, all the psychiatric hospitals, homeless shelters. She's still um looking for him every day. And it's just that video, I think. When I first came across that security video with the creepy music, like, it was just I was hooked. I spent, days on this case reading everything I can. It's just so creepy.
It's kind of scary though how something in, like, if it was just, like, a mental health breakdown, how quickly it can happen, just a couple days, and it could get that severe where you're so paranoid and you're just because like, I don't think there was anyone actually after him. Like, I think it's obvious there wasn't, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
If you didn't even get into that fight with football, would the paranoia still come? You know what I mean? Like, if that was bound to happen anyway, without the fight, it's just all these
Yeah.
questions you don't know, you know?
Mhm.
And it's like, I think that's the only person case I ever come across where someone disappeared from the airport. You know what I mean? Like, runs away from an airport. It's just weird, you know?
It is weird because there's so many, like, security cameras and, like, security in an airport, right?
Yeah.
So you'd think you'd be able to see where he went at
And it's
least,
like,
but
it looks like he's running like through the tarp, like no one stopped him. Like, wait, there's like because in the airport it's forbidden. You can't go where like no one stopped him. That he was running through. Obviously, he was protected by these fields. No one. They just watched him all run through the
well, that's the
forbidden
thing, though. If
area.
there's that fence there, like, that huge tall fence that people aren't supposed to be around that area, like, you'd think there'd be cameras farther on to see, like, if someone was, like, coming through there, like, when they're not supposed to, right? I don't know. And, like, you'd think people would see, like, the airport tower people can see all around. I don't know. You just think there'd be more security and footage surrounding the airport.
He's still considered the world's most famous missing tourist. Like, what happened to him? It's just crazy. And also, I think it's crazy that that story about that Canadian that was found, like because they thought it was him. That's like a whole nother probably episode we could probably do with this
Yeah,
missing.
that's crazy.
But yeah, like it's just what are the chances? But anyway, yeah, that's the case of Lars Mittank. What do you guys think happened to him? Nothing nefarious. I don't think so.
No, I think he just had a mental breakdown and just ran
Yeah.
away, ended up getting into a truck with someone, like, gave him a ride somewhere else, and he just ended up maybe homeless on the streets and
Mhm.
Yeah, he's, like, maybe not even in the area. That's why nobody
Mhm.
found him because and people
Mhm.
away farther away don't even know the case, or he's just
Yeah.
Well, I
another
was
person on the street.
because I was thinking of it, like, there's this thing in, like in Europe where there's, like, a bunch of countries where it's, like, you don't have internal, like, customs, like, in the land
Yeah.
borders, like, you can travel between the countries without any,
Mhm.
like, customs checked, right? And I was thinking, I'm like, is Bulgaria one of those countries? Because I'm thinking maybe he, like, got in a truck and, like, drove over across the border. But then I looked it up and it's like it only became one of those countries, like, in 2025. So I think back in
Mm.
2014, it would have had those. So
Hmm.
because then I'm like, okay, then he probably wouldn't have been able to get over the border unless he snuck in, like, in the back of someone's truck or something. But, like, so he has to still be in Bulgaria. He couldn't have gone anywhere, and he didn't have his passport with him or his ID, like, which narrows it down.
The investigative agency phone number to call if you have any tips or sightings, any info is 491-577-830-0896, or the non-emergency police number is 112. There's also an email, findet_lars@web.de.
Okay. And that's FINDET underscore LARS at web.de.
There's also a website too, but like I said, there's a Facebook page too that find at Lars Mittank, which is FINDET Lars Mittank. That's the Facebook page that his mom uses daily with updates and info and all that. It has like over 55,000 followers on that Facebook page. Um, so yeah, that is the case of Lars Mittank, the mysterious disappearance of Lars Mittank.
Crazy. So yeah, we'll put a link to the Facebook page too in the
Yeah,
show notes. 'Cause you said it's 55,000 followers. So
yeah, yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Crazy. So, all right, that does it for this week's episode of Crime Family. If you are a fan of the show, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Crime Family Podcast. If you have any case suggestions or feedback or theories on this case, you can email us at crimefamilypodcast@gmail.com. And also, if you can leave us a review on your podcast app like Apple Podcasts or Spotify, if you'd like. Also, you can subscribe to us on YouTube. Just type in Crime Family Podcast. You can watch the video versions of the episodes on YouTube if you subscribe to us. Also on Spotify are the video versions of these episodes if you like to watch the video and not just the audio. And yeah, so you can follow us on all those places and connect with us because we'd like to hear from you. So that's it for this week. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. Until then, take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.